It began on an ordinary Tuesday evening, one of those nights that feels routine, until without warning, it isn't. I was in the garage, buried up to my elbows in the engine of my F-150, when the front door slammed. Not the soft, familiar thud I heard when Isabella usually came home, but a hard, almost victorious crash. I wiped my hands on a rag, smearing grease across my fingers, and called, "Hey, you're home early." Before she even answered, laughter drifted down the hallway. Then she appeared in the kitchen, eyes sparkling like someone who had just won something big. "We need to get divorced now," she announced, her voice light and sing-songy, like she was talking about a weekend getaway, not detonating our entire life. I froze, wrench still halfway in my grip. "Come again?" I asked, unsure if I'd misheard. She tilted her head, smiling even wider, her excitement completely disconnected from her words. "I can't do this anymore," she said. "We're done. I've thought about it, and that's final. I want out today." Slowly, I set the wrench aside, my knuckles going pale. 8 years of marriage, 2 children, and countless nights spent patching up our problems flashed through my mind. And there she was standing tall, grinning, as though she'd just achieved something worth celebrating. "Today, you're serious?" My voice wavered, even though I tried keeping it steady. My heartbeat pounded the way it had the night we signed papers for our first home. She nodded, almost patiently, as if explaining something simple to a child. "Yes, I already talked to a lawyer. Everything's prepared. It's better for both of us." I inhaled deeply, trying to absorb the insanity of what I was hearing. 1,000 memories, mistakes, arguments, and moments replayed in my mind, yet none of them explained the strange triumph on her face. I let out a choked laugh, half bitter, half defeated. "All right. If that's what you want, fine, I agree." Her smile grew even brighter, and a cold shiver ran through me. Agreeing was supposed to feel like clarity, like easing tension. Instead, it felt like I had stepped directly into a trap I hadn't seen. That night I told myself I was being practical, composed. I had no idea that saying yes in that moment of shock would unravel into the worst decision I had ever made. The next morning, I got up early, trying to convince myself I could treat the divorce like any normal adult decision. Breakfast was painfully quiet. Isabella moved around the kitchen with a cold sort of efficiency, untouchable, almost smug. I poured my coffee and watched her flip pancakes with a cheeriness that felt unreal, as if none of our years together had ever mattered. I tried bringing up the practical stuff, custody, finances, responsibilities, but she brushed everything aside. "I've got it taken care of," she said, not even looking at me. Her tone shut down every attempt at discussion. By mid-morning, she was already out the door, tote bag slung over her shoulder, walking with a confidence that stung. She'd already arranged lawyer calls, set up appointments, even scheduled something with the kids' school counselor. It felt like I was witnessing a stranger tear apart the life I had helped build. At first, I wasn't angry, just stunned. How could someone treat 8 years of marriage like it was nothing more than a switch to flip? How could she be proud while I was still trying to understand what had happened? I called my best friend, Mark, my voice tight. "She's going through with it. Papers, lawyer, everything. She's serious." Mark paused, then said something I didn't expect. "Tony, slow down. Don't let her excitement push you into stupid decisions. Think." After hanging up, I wandered into the living room. My eyes landed on the framed photos of our vacations, our matching outfits with the kids, all the tiny memories that suddenly felt like accusations. Every birthday, every compromise, every late-night heart-to-heart, it all felt suddenly pointless in the face of her determination. By the afternoon, the logical side of me told me to start planning, but something deeper warned me that agreeing so quickly had been a massive misstep. I replayed the scene over and over, her dazzling smile, the bright gleam in her eyes, the pride seeping from her voice as she told me our marriage was over. That wasn't normal. That wasn't someone simply choosing to move on. It was a power play, and I had willingly given her the advantage. That realization settled into my chest like a weight I couldn't shake. Then, the messages began, one after another. Texts from her lawyer, reminders about meetings, custody paperwork, financial forms. Each one a sharp reminder that my stunned agreement had effectively handed her control of everything. Days blurred together. I signed documents I barely processed, attended short meetings, answered questions about assets and parenting schedules. Isabella was constantly present, smiling, satisfied, almost glowing with victory. Friends tried comforting me, But nothing touched the feeling of being dismantled piece by piece by someone who acted like she was winning a competition. One evening, I visited the kids' school, hoping grounding myself in their daily life might help. James and Sophie ran toward me, laughing, completely unaware of the chaos swallowing our home. I hugged them so tightly it hurt. They were too young to understand divorce. Too innocent to know their mother was celebrating something that was tearing me apart. When I got home, Isabella had left notes on the counter, tiny reminders of deadlines and meetings. Each written neatly, dramatically, like she wanted me to feel every consequence of my quick agreement. My home didn't feel like mine anymore. It felt like the stage for her victory. Then came the blow that cut deeper than anything else. In the middle of handling all the logistics, she had already started seeing someone new. Not secretly opening texts I stumbled across proved it. She was laughing, flirting, moving forward while I was still drowning in the aftermath of my stunned yes. My mistake wasn't just agreeing, it was misreading her entirely. Confusing her calm, proud demeanor for detachment. Failing to see how quickly she would seize control. And then I realized something worse. The custody arrangement heavily favored her. My impulsive compliance had left me with almost nothing. She had carved out her triumph while I scrambled to pick up the pieces. That's when the truth finally hit me with full force. This wasn't just a divorce. It was a lesson learned far too late that shock, pride, and an attempt to keep peace can be used against you, and that the softest smile can hide the sharpest intentions. Now, weeks later, I replay that moment the day she walked in, glowing with triumph. I agreed because I thought staying calm was the wisest choice. I thought it would ease the conflict. I was wrong. That single agreement, born from confusion and disbelief, didn't protect me. It cost me stability, it cost me control, and it shattered the illusion that we were still partners. Every detail, every miscalculation, every assumption, they all stacked into the worst mistake of my life. And even now, when I look back, what haunts me most is her smile. That bright, victorious smile, the one that made me surrender without a fight, is something I will never forget.